Good morning, everyone. Mike Fiebernitz, Remax Southern Shores, coming to you for another Fiebernitz Friday, where we throw casual Friday out the window, still ending the week on a high note, wearing the suit, the tie, and the customary pocket square. So let's go ahead and jump into this week's market mashup. We'll give you the numbers and then we'll jump into this week's topic. So, for all you condo owners out there, you slid back again this past week. You're down 0.1%. You're still up, though, 1.5% this year compared to last year's average sales price. Residential market, you're up 0.1% this past week. Brings you up for the year of 1.1% this year compared to last year's average sales price. And then the land market, you are up big, 1.4% this past week. Brings you up for the year 13.4% this year compared to last year's average sales price. So real quick, it looks like we are in a below normal market. Usually the residential market, you would want to be somewhere around 1.3, 1.4 around this point, and we're not getting there. So we're just below a normal market. So hopefully something will change, but I don't know if it will because inflation's high, interest rates are high. So that leads me into today's topic, which is 4 pitfalls for sellers that refuse to negotiate an offer. So selling a property basically requires an open mind, especially in today's real estate market. One common mistake sellers basically make is rejecting negotiation outright, sticking to their price, and assuming buyers will pay their asking price, or they'll get a better offer later on. So here are my 4 pitfalls for sellers that refuse to negotiate an offer, because in today's market, you definitely want to negotiate. Number 1, limited offers today. So basically, what that means is it's no longer a guarantee to receive multiple offers quickly. Getting just one offer on your property is basically common in today's market, and getting a second one is rare. Now, unless you have a kind of a rare property, or you're in a neighborhood where the demand is significantly higher, then getting a second offer is probably going to be tough. Ignoring or rejecting the first offer that comes along can basically mean a longer wait for another one to come, or worse, you might not even sell your property altogether. We're as agents, we're pricing property fairly close to the market value, and we're just not seeing the showing activity we need to see to get an offer. But when we do get an offer, I would definitely negotiate with the buyer. Number 2, more choices for the buyers. So what that means is basically buyers now have an abundance of properties to choose from. This abundance gives the buyers leverage in negotiations. Sellers who refuse to negotiate risk losing motivated buyers who will move on to other properties, and basically they will make an offer, and the first seller to negotiate basically wins. This is very close to 2010, 2011, 2012, where the market was just continuously falling, and buyers would look at 10 to 15 properties, turn around and just go from property to property and go, here's my offer. If the seller didn't negotiate, went to the next seller, they didn't negotiate, and then finally the third seller negotiated with them. So it is very reminiscent to, right when we're, basically the financial crisis of 2008, where buyers are just making offers and they're moving on to the next seller because they can. They have that leverage. Number 3, high inflation and interest rates. So I've been talking about this probably almost since the first of the year. Factors like inflation and high interest rates actually affect buyers' purchasing power. Now, some may be unable or even unwilling to meet these current high demands because, one, they just don't have the excess cash to buy because inflation's through the roof, or two, they just can't afford the cost because the interest rate is so high at 7%. Now, there are a lot of less buyers in the market because of these factors. Not negotiating in light of these factors and basically putting your blinders on and thinking that these factors don't exist can basically lead to prolonged listing times, frustration, and even worse, your property not selling. Fourth and final, this is 2024. Yes, the year 2024. What that basically means is this isn't 2021, 2022, folks. The market has evolved from the pandemic-driven low interest rates of 2021, 2022. We had a COVID pandemic, and on top of that, interest rates were 3.25%, even maybe a little bit lower at 3%, 3.5%. And those two things drove the real estate market at the rates they drove them up to in 21 and 22. But now you got to realize that neither of those are coming back. I don't think we're ever going to probably see, a 3.5% interest rate for a very long time. And the COVID pandemic isn't something that we see like every 2 or 3 years, right? So those two factors that we're probably not going to see for a very long time probably isn't, going to be the driving force to wait for the market to go back up. Sellers must adjust strategies accordingly, and more importantly, understand that the real estate market is changing every single day. Being open to negotiation is the key in this new landscape. Folks, that's all I got. I will close with this. In essence, sellers who dismiss negotiation may face unnecessary challenges. Flexibility, market awareness, and professional guidance from me or your real estate agent can lead to successful negotiations and desired outcomes on the sale of your property. So when you do get that offer, I would treat it as if it's the only one you're going to get. Negotiate to the best of your ability, get your property sold, and move on to bigger and better things. Folks, that's all I got this week. Have a wonderful weekend. If you got any questions, drop me a comment. If you are watching on YouTube, subscribe to my channel. Love to, keep you updated on all the videos I put out. And have a wonderful day. See you guys next Friday. Have a good one.